Happy Monday. Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday, Angelica. Happy Monday, Alton, at the lounge at Foundation Escrow. Thank you so much.
Shout out for always sponsoring these videos. We really greatly appreciate it.
Yes.
But coming from the weekend and knowing that we've had kind of a long weekend and everything, I guess it feels like a Monday.
Yeah, it does feel like a Monday, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, what's happening for Monday market update right now? I think just, over the weekend and whatnot, what we're seeing is we're still having low inventory. But I can fortunately say that we're still picking up listings. There's still a lot of people out there who have to sell, especially for those who have purchased a property or refinanced within the past 1 to 3 years and may not have a lot of equity in their home right now and who are experiencing the 5 to 6%. Right now, you had mentioned last week that interest rates were, still around sixes, low sixes, if anything. Yeah. And that being said, we're still, with all of the uncertainty that we have that's going on in the world right now, from my perspective, I feel like we're not going to see a lot of significant shifts right now at the moment, but I'm not a fortune teller, so I can't really tell you exactly what that's going to look like. However, as far as the real estate market goes, we are seeing a shift in inventory. We're still low as ever. Least amount of competition right now. And I do feel like home buyers are taking it slower. They're taking it slower. They want to take their time. They have a little bit more negotiating power, having to negotiate for seller credit, seller's concessions, things of that nature. But, communicating with real estate professionals like ourselves, thankfully with our clientele, we're able to provide them the education that they need to make a very sound decision.
Yeah. Now, on my end, as far as the clients that I'm interviewing and I'm getting them pre-approved, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of concerns about where rates are going to be going, if they should buy now, buy later. And so, it's on everybody's mind, right? Like, what should we do? I mean, a lot of people are not sure. They're uncertain of the market's going to get worse. And some people are pumping the brakes. They're just going to wait. And then we have some folks that are really jumping in this and they're like, you know what, this is our time. This is the moment that we want to get in because we don't want competition. So I think it all comes down to always what we say, if the payment makes sense financially for you, then it's the right time, then pull the trigger. I think as a first-time home buyer, it was hard getting in the market. I don't know about you, but it was a really hard market to get into. There was so many buyers, and being a first-time home buyer and not having 20% or 30%, some of these buyers were selling and putting like hundreds of thousands of dollars down, and we were coming in with 5% down. We were outbid almost at over 10 homes. We were so discouraged. So this market, you don't experience that right now, which is kind of nice, right? You look for the right property. You may be the only offer on the table, which means you're going to be you're going to have a lot of bargaining chips that you're going to be able to bargain and get better deals. So the rates are always going to be the rates. It is what it is, right? It's like your car right now. You got to put gas in it, regardless if it's $6 or $5 or $4. You got to put gas on it to get you from point A to point B. Well, either you're going to rent or you're going to own a property, and you're going to have to decide if your money is going to go towards somebody else's mortgage or it's going to go towards your mortgage. But there's no in between unless you live with your parents and you don't have to pay them. Do you live with your parents and you're 40 years old Please.
Well, you know what? I think having to understand the importance of homeownership, I think that's really essential. I think having to work with real estate professionals to help them understand the value of ownership, of owning something. I mean, if you look at business owners today, from a mom and pop shop to high level Netflix, Disney, Nike, name brands that we all know and are aware of.
Yeah.
Regardless of how big of the steak you're eating at the table with ownership, it doesn't matter because you own it. And with ownership, you have tax breaks, you have appreciation, you have equity, and you have leverage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think an underrated value that ownership that a lot of people are sleeping on is leverage, because honestly, it can be in times of uncertainty or times of happiness and joy and everything. That leverage that you have in ownership can literally unlock doors that you couldn't even imagine. I mean, for example, let's just say if you own a property in today's market and there's a war, and let's just say maybe perhaps you might feel scared of selling your property or buying your property or whatever the case may be. If you did own a property, what I would say or suggest is research other avenues that can help you make that current asset that you have become a cash flowing cow for you. For example, I don't know, let's just say I had a client, hypothetically speaking, who owns a property that's free and clear and is a 100% disabled veteran. It pays no property taxes and it's, just sitting there. The difference between an asset and a liability is that an asset generates cash flow, whereas a liability takes away your cash flow. So even if you have ownership in a property, it's still a liability until you're seeing a return on an investment. Mm-hmm. Working with real estate professionals like ourselves is really important when you are a homeowner, because we can help tailor a plan that can outline different ways, different channels to produce streamlines of income. And that's why I think it's really important to set up an appointment with us, to sit down, do a diagnosis of what your financial anatomy looks like, so that way we can help you reap more money, help you reap passive income, help you reap your next investment opportunity. That's the value that we have to bring to the table.
I agree. And we don't always paint things. Also, we like to look at the risk, right? Because there's risk to every position. Whether it's a big company, like you mentioned, they look at risk too. There's nothing you go into without risk. But we like to help our clients mitigate that risk and explain how we take position so that the risk is minor, right? Example, if you're buying a property and you may have to relocate in 2 to 3 or 4 or 5 years, we go ahead and we look at the type of properties you should position yourself to buy. We look at rentals in that area in case you have to move and have to rent the property, because it takes time to build equity to be able to sell it. So we're not just thinking about buying. We're also sitting down and looking at forecasting the future so we can mitigate that risk. So it's not always real, like everything's going to be beautiful and no problems. So we want to help each of our clients look at the beginning, the end, the risk factors, and we want to help them mitigate the risk. And that makes a huge difference, because it's not just putting them in the house, growing with them through the process of owning that home.
Absolutely. And that's what we're here for. Mm-hmm. We're here to build a legacy. Yeah. And every family wants to leave behind a wealth of knowledge, but most importantly, position themselves for assets, because that is actually going to build the future.
I like that.
Happy Monday, everyone.